Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to be creating a FaithDex card using the January Faith Art Box from Creative Retreat Kits. This is Who Do You Say I Am? I do have an entire unboxing of this kit. I will link down below for you guys. I'm just kind of sharing what comes in the kit and what it's about and all that goodness if you haven't seen already, so I will be sure to link that down below. But I'm diving in and I'm going to be journaling the verses Mark 8:27 through 31. And this is interaction between Jesus and his disciples, and everybody's starting to catch on to who he is, that he is the Messiah that was prophesied in the Old Testament. And so I thought that I would just create a simple FaithDex card with this scripture. I like to do these for verses that I really want to memorize, or important verses that are, good ones for sharing, and doing evangelism and that kind of thing, and just some key scriptures to have on hand. And this is one of those ones that I think is kind of an important one. So that is going to go on a FaithDex card. I've pulled out some die cut pieces from Maggie Holmes' collection. I think this was like a printable collection that I had in my stash. So I pulled out a few of these to coordinate with the stickers from the kit this month. And yeah, we're going to do something fairly simple. So let me go ahead and put you on fast forward and we'll put together this card. Okay, so I went ahead and die cut a FaithDex card from some watercolor paper using a die and my die cutting machine. I will have all of those products linked down below for you guys if you're curious about that. You could just as easily hand cut out a card and use one of the punches if you have it. Or there are some printables out there, lots of different options to create these FaithDex cards. But I am just blending on some Distress Oxide inks. I have worn lipstick and cracked pistachio, and then I will bring in some spun sugar as well. I'm using some really inexpensive makeup brushes. These are just like some face brushes or blush brushes. And I like that it applies a really soft layer of this ink. Now, this blending is super messy and super rough, and that's okay because I'm going to add some water to this and it's going to blend everything together. But at that point, it was kind of looking like a watermelon. I wasn't sure where I was going with this, but it ends up looking how I envisioned once I do this. So I sprayed a liberal amount of water on the card and then used a paper towel to blot up the water and excess ink, and that gave me that really soft textured background. And when working on watercolor paper, you're able to pick up a lot of the ink and get that really faded background look with those Distress Oxide inks, and that's what I was going for. So then I pulled out this diamond stencil. This is from Creative Retreat Kits. I haven't used it in a while, and so I thought, why not add some little diamond texture to the background. With these cards, I like to kind of play around with building up, layers, and it's a pretty small card, and so you can kind of experiment with background techniques and, paper clustering, and it doesn't take a whole lot of product because the cards are, pretty small pieces. So this frame die cut was one that I had in my stash, and I'm going to adhere it to a sheet of vellum. And this is going to be a little frame for one of the owls from the kit. And by adding the vellum to the back of it, it's going to help mute any of the background that's behind this frame. That way it doesn't get too cluttered looking on the front of this card. It's not much, it's not super drastic, but it just gives kind of a barrier between whatever object's going in this frame and the background and what's behind it. So I'm just checking my clusters there to see if it's, what I want before I start sticking everything down. Again, these leaves are printables from Maggie Holmes, and so I will have those linked down below for you guys. Just had a variety of things on my desk that I wanted to use up. I have an abundance of ephemera right now, and so that's kind of the nice thing about the Creative Retreat kits is that they are, there's enough in them that you can do an entry just with the kit itself, but it's not so overwhelming with product that you can't use up some of the things in your stash and kind of mix and match some of the things that you might have from other brands and things like that. So real quick on camera there, I stamped out that speech bubble using some purple ink, and then I took it over to my typewriter and just typed out, "Who do you say I am?" I think this would be really fun to type out your journaling in there, type out different prayers, or write them out. I had thought about stamping the word, the phrase, "Who do you say I am?" but it wasn't all going to fit in that speech bubble how I wanted it to, and so this worked exactly how I wanted it to. So I picked which owlet I want there. I did hack off his legs. I know that's kind of sad, but I wanted him to look like he's kind of popping out of the bottom of that frame. And then I've got his little speech bubble that says, "Who do you say I am?" And I did do that on white cardstock just so that it would kind of stand out from all the clustering and layers and things that I had on the background. But I am going to add one of those wonky hearts to take up kind of that awkward empty space in that speech bubble. And then I had these laying on my desk. These are the Maggie Holmes Heritage Collection stickers. I had used these for Gratitude Documented, and I needed to use them up. Like I said, I have too much product. So there's some of the blues and purples and pinks match the colors of the January Faith Art box. So I'm going to pull those in and just add some more embellishment to here. So you can see how easy it is to mix and match, you know, some of the cardstock stickers from the kit, but then I can pull out things from my stash and little random bits and bobs and kind of get a whole nother look by adding in some other product that I had laying there. So I have that little Remember This label, and then I felt like I needed a big flower to go along with those really big leaves, and these stickers are clear, so I just stuck them down on some white cardstock and then fussy cut it out, and then got that little pop of blue on the front there. Stick everything down, and that's pretty much going to be it for the front of the card. Now I can work on the back. I went ahead and typed out that whole passage in Mark 8 using my typewriter, and I'm going to add a little bit of the washi tape that comes from the kit this month to the bottom of the card. I do need to punch those holes. Now that punch for the MemoryDex card is sold out pretty much everywhere. So unfortunately, I don't have a way to link to that, but I know a lot of you did get it when it was in stock. So it's kind of nice to have on hand for that. At the top here, I'm just going to spell out "You are the Messiah," and that's in response to the passage there in Mark. So I didn't leave myself any journaling. Sometimes I do prayer cards with these MemoryDex cards, and sometimes it's just getting the verse down so that it's easy for me to reach for. I've got it right on my desk and in front of my face, and it just is, you know, just a simple card to have verses right there in front of me at all times. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out the description box for links to everything that I used. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.